to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. Shalom to all. I'm going to try to make this quick, but let's see where the Spirit takes me. It may need me to another direction, or it may be long one. Let's see where the Spirit takes me. But I'm going to try to make this short. I'm going to try to just focus on this one verse. Anyway, I'm going to entitle this video Revelation 12, verse 5. The ChatGPT was correct, or is correct. So I went to the ChatGPT, as you can see, and I thought about going to Revelation 12 and 1 just to see what they say about the woman. And they were pretty much right on that too. They were right. So anyway, I'm just going to read it. And I may go to other verses in the same chapter. Let's see. I may just deal with this one and come back later. Like I said, let's see where the Spirit takes me. So Revelation 12, verse 5, King James Version reads, "And she brought forth a man-child." Now we say that is referring to Yahushua, and the she that brought forth the man-child was Mary, but the woman, and starting at verse 1, is referring to Israel as a whole, because he's the son of Israel. But specifically, he's the son of Joseph and Mary. And she brought forth a man-child. Out of Israel came one of the sons of Israel, who was to rule all nations. That's the kingdom. Rule, to have authority over. That of a master and slave relationship. And we will rule with him. Co-rulers. Joint heirs. Romans 8:16 on down. Also, there's many other scriptures. Isaiah 14:1 and 2. Many scriptures on us ruling. Sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. What is that? Exodus 19 and 6. We shall be a kingdom of priests. What is it? 1 Peter 2 and 9, if I'm not mistaken. I'm almost positive. It speaks about us being a royal priesthood. Also, Revelation chapter 7. It speaks about the 144,000 out of the different tribes of Israel. Then it speaks about the multitude. Those are also Israelites, and that's John seeing the kingdom of heaven. Them coming out of great tribulation. So let me read this again. And she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. Psalms 2 and 9, or Psalms 2, 8, and 9. Really, you can read the whole Psalms. It's a short chapter. Revelation 2, 25, 26. Isaiah 14:1 and 2. We're going to rule as well. We're going to rule over our oppressors. Because when Yahushua's kingdom is established and his throne is established, our thrones will be established as well. So we will be joint rulers with Yahushua, the earthly king being King David. King David will come back in his position. And her child, the Messiah, was caught up unto the Most High and into his throne. First scripture that should come to mind is Acts chapter 1, where they see him go up into a cloud. There were two men arrayed in white. These were angels, obviously, but they came down in the form of men, and they explained to the apostles what this all meant, and that the way he went up, and that cloud was a ship. He's coming the same way. So he didn't die, he didn't disappear and wind up in the spiritual realm. His physical body, which was raised from the dead, his physical body went into a physical / spiritual ship. Because this ship, this chariot, can do things that Esau's technology cannot match. So when he's beamed up, he's going to have that extraterrestrial / celestial body. Then he's going to go into the heavens. Same thing happened to Elijah. The same thing happened to Enoch. Oh, how can that be? John be Elijah? Elijah never died. Elijah didn't die the way men and women and children and animals die. He didn't get sick and die. He didn't catch a heart attack or stroke. He didn't get struck by lightning. The mountain didn't fall on him. His human body was beamed up into a chariot, and a perfect example is "Beam Me Up, Scotty" from the Star Trek series. See, Esau understands that you can do it. That can be done, but they can't do it. You had a thing called what was it called? The Manhattan Project. Let me look up the Manhattan Project, where they claimed to make people, they had the power over invisibility. Let's go into it. So Esau has spiritual power. His spiritual power is if Diddy gets off, this what you witnessed with the Diddy trial, which was a mock trial, is a humiliation ritual. So we'll come back to that. Let's see if he gets off, because they dropped a lot of federal charges, or state charges rather. I don't really keep up with it. What is the Manhattan Project all about? The hell, man? Manhattan Project meaning. Okay, let me see. Maybe it was called something else. The Pattern Project. Okay, see, the Pattern Project. Manhattan. Manhattan Project. Manhattan Project. The Manhattan Project was a top secret U.S.-led effort during World War II to develop the first atomic bombs. It involved scientists, engineers, and the military, and was driven by concern that Nazi Germany was also pursuing nuclear weapons. The project resulted in the creation of 2 types of atomic bombs, which were later used in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. There was another project. It wasn't Manhattan Project. It wasn't Manhattan Project, then it was something else. U.S. military had the power to make people disappear and reappear. Philadelphia Project. There we go. The belief that the U.S. military and the military works with science. That's why they had one of the heads, I guess, of Palantir, which means the seafar. When they track everybody, they'll be able to see far with this company called Palantir to track you down. It said the belief that the U.S. military had the power to make people disappear and reappear is often linked to the Philadelphia experiment, a widely circulated urban legend and conspiracy theory. Here's a breakdown of the Philadelphia experiment and the claims. Alleged event, supposedly 1943, Mitchell's World War I, the U.S. Navy. So they started getting this advanced military technology during World War II. The U.S. Navy conducted a secret experiment at Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. Okay, that's why it's called. The Philadelphia experiment shipyard, with the goal of making a destroyer escort, the USS Eldridge, invisible to radar, which the hypersonic missile system, which is known as Satan II, that Russia possesses, or the cone or the warhead is clouded by a plasma cloud where it can't be detected by radar. So they have the technology. Extraordinary claims. The legend claims that the experiment went wrong, causing the ship to not only become invisible, but to also teleport from Philadelphia to Norfolk, Virginia. Wow. And back again. Some versions of the story suggest that crew members were negatively affected, including being fused into ship's structure. They were messing with some science that they shouldn't have been messing with. Wow. Suffering mental breakdowns or even disappearing permanently. They were tapping into the spiritual realm. So we don't know how true this is. This is supposed to be a conspiracy theory, right? Give me a second. I'm finna get deep. Okay, so they saying the Philadelphia experiment, a widely circulated urban legend and conspiracy theory. So you can talk about it and they can say, well, that never happened. It's a conspiracy theory. But this part, man, is scary. They said a ship was able to disappear. A naval ship, was able to disappear, go from Philadelphia to Norfolk, Virginia. That's some miles. If you drove from Philly to Norfolk, we're talking about, I don't know. Somebody do the math for me. I'm not gonna do the math. Invisible. And back again. Some versions of the story suggest that crew members were negatively affected, including being fused into the ship's structure. Fused into the ship's structure. Suffering mental breakdowns or even disappearing permanently. Some of them just disappeared. They just disappeared. You know, Sergeant Jenkins just disappeared. We can't find him. They're looking throughout the ship. He didn't jump in the water. He just disappeared. They were delving into something that they shouldn't have been messing with. And that's dealing with spiritual power. Right there. Navy response. The U.S. Navy has consistently denied, was it called plausible deniability? Oh, no, none of that happened. That this experiment ever took place, stating that the USS or United States ship Eldridge was not in Philadelphia during the alleged time of the experiment. They also point out that the technology their miracles in Revelation 13, their miracles is their technology. Who gave them the technology? The micro C-hip is whose technology? It's the Most High's technology. Required for such an experiment like teleportation remains in the realm of science fiction even today. Okay, maybe it happened and they just hush hush about it. Important. While the Philadelphia experience is a popular urban legend, there was no credible evidence to support the claims. And it's called classified. A lot of things are classified. Redacted claims that the U.S. military has the power to make people disappear and reappear. The Navy denies any such experiment ever took place, and the scientific claims made in the legend are largely considered impossible. So we don't know. We know that the Most High gave him technology. You couldn't see a guy back in 1943 with the smartphone making a phone call or watching videos. Or taking that phone and turning it. I said, where's the wires to the phone? Or going on the web, which back then you didn't have the web. The web, the internets, that's old technology that the Levites, the Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua gave to the Levites, which is the Urim and the Thummim. Awarim, light, and Thummim. Awarim, Thummim. Awarim, light, and Thummim, which is perfection. So the light and perfection is a web which the Levites had thousands of years ago. So they were connected to the Most High. So the Most High said, okay, I'm going to give him this old technology now. I'm going to give it to him now. And put the spirit on Steve Wozniak and was it Stephen Jobs? Wozniak. Is his first name Stephen? Something Wozniak. They were small hats. And they claimed that they put this shit together. No. The spirit was dealing with you guys and guiding you to put that thing together. And he could have gave the spirit just could have gave you all the technology right there. He ain't gonna do that. He ain't gonna do that. The spirit, the great spirit, is gonna give you things piecemeal to make you think that you invented that thing. This Most High's technology, the ICBM, the splitting of the atom. The spirits gave you the technology and the know-how to split the atom. Anyway, there's lessons within lessons. It says context and meaning. This verse is part of a larger vision in Revelation 12, where a woman clothed with the sun. So we know that that's not Mary. That's talking about Israel. The 12 stars represents the 12 tribes, gives birth to a male child, while a great red dragon, that's the Roman Empire. Because when the child was born, it was Herod the Great that ordered his men of war to go and kill the boy baby. It doesn't say boys or girls, but we knew that they were boys because he knew that the Messiah was going to come as a man child. So they didn't kill the girl babies 2 years and under. Although they don't say that, okay, we know that because we know that we know how the ancient world works. It says, while a great red dragon, that's the Roman Empire, which is here today, known as the beast. It's known as a beast today. Back then it was known as a dragon. Dragon and beast is interchangeable. They get their power and seat and great authority from the dragon, which is the Roman Empire. NATO and the EU is the Roman Empire all over again. I go through that over and over to ad nauseum. while a great red dragon waits to devour the child. And the child was in Egypt. It didn't say in Egypt, specifically, but he had to have gone into Alexandria, Egypt, because you had at least millions of Israelites that kept the law, statutes, and commandments, and they knew that they were Israelites that lived there, that would come 3 times out of the year to Jerusalem for the feast. It says, she brought forth a man child, often interpreted as a reference to Jesus Christ. I'll say Jesus Christ. I hate saying that. So they're saying it's right. They're saying it means, often interpreted as a reference to the Messiah. So the Roman Catholics say, oh, the woman represents the Roman. No, it does not represent the Roman Catholic Church. Neither does it represent Mary, because there's no evidence of Mary having a. Matter of fact, let me go to it. Let me go ahead and read it from the top. The woman, Israel. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. There's no reference of Mary having a crown on her head with 12 stars. That represents the Israelites. And she, the Israelite, which is likened unto a beautiful and comely woman, being with child, travailed in birth and pain to be delivered. The travailing was when Herod's men of war went and killed the boy babies 2 years and under, because of the Magi. So let me come on back. So I'm surprised that the chat is playing the safe side, often interpreted as a reference to the Lord, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. Revelation 2, 25, 26, Psalms 2, 8, and 9, Isaiah 47. What was the other one? Isaiah. There was a bunch of them. I said Psalms. Isaiah 14, 1 and 2. Daniel 7, mainly 9. This phrase echoes messianic, which is when somebody says he's a messianic Jew, that means he's a Jew that believes in the Messiah. We would be called messianic Israelites. We believe that the Messiah came. You got other Jakes out there that are non-messianic. They don't believe that the Messiah came because they follow the small hats. The reason why the small hats said they never came, because they weren't there. This phrase echoes messianic language from Psalms 2 and 9. Right. Who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. When you have a rod of iron, that means you beating people down. You can start at the 8th verse. Indicating authority and divine kingship. And we will be joint heirs with him, and we will be sitting on thrones. Every Israelite man is going to be sitting on the throne. And every Israelite man is going to have thousands of women and concubines. And you will have thousands upon thousands of children, offspring. A nation, and the earth is going to actually expand. Caught up unto the Most High, which is the Father, and to his throne. This likely refers to the Messiah ascension to heaven after his resurrection. That's Acts chapter 1. The men in white telling the disciples with that, why'd he go up into the heavens, into a cloud? Some interpretations see the woman as Mary, which is not true, but he was born from Mary, but the woman in verse 1 represents Israel. He's a son of Israel. Israel are a symbol of the faithful people of God. Who are the faithful people of God? Not the Israelites. Ultimately, they are, but the faithful people of the Most High are the elect of Israel, of the nation of Israel. If you're of another nation, you're not a part of the elect. You're not of faith. Faith, depending on theological tradition, would you like a comparison with other translations or further commentary? So, being that I started from here, now we can go back and then we can get some answers. We know that that's not talking about Mary. We know that's not talking about the Roman Catholic Church. It's talking about Israel. The pain to be delivered in the travail is when, like I said, the Herod's men of war was going in the houses. They were back, like they're doing now with ICE. They're going up in the houses. They're going in the same spirit, but they would go after how many children you got? Where's your children at? They would see two girls and they would see maybe two boys. A boy might be 5. The other boy might be 1.5. We're taking that one. No, please, no. And they would kill the kid. They killed. We don't know the number. But you got uncies. Try to figure that out. You got uncies that tell you, what about the white man? Motherfucker, the white man was killing your children. Them same niggas that get on us about they're Christians and you gotta get they're not concerned about the Latin tribes being taken. They're not concerned about them. Let me just do this. Let me see what they're going to say. Then I'm going to get ready to close it. So, chat was, for the most part, correct. Let's see what this says. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his fought and his angels. Now we know that the dragon is the Roman Empire. When you go back to chat, you go back again to Revelation 12. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This verse is part of a dramatic passage in the book of Revelation, which symbolically describes a cosmic battle between cosmic meaning out in the heavens, in space, in the sky. Good and evil. Here's a brief breakdown. Michael is an archangel, often depicted as a warrior and protector. The dragon represents Satan. Yeah, see, now it's a spiritual. No. But Satan does mean adversary. The dragon represents the adversary. Who's our adversary? Psalms 83. As identified later in the chapter, verse 9, this war in heaven symbolizes the conflict between divine forces and evil. Oh, that's true, divine forces and evil forces. Esau represents the evil forces. Anyway, you know what I want to do? Let me do this. Let me do this right here. Give me a Okay, let me just go to this one. And to the woman. So we know that the woman, the chat said the women all the Israelites are married. We know that that the women in verse 1 represent the Israelites, the ones that were on that side of the world. And to the women were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into a place where she is nourished for a time and times and times, half a time from the face of the serpent. Serpent, dragon is interchangeable. So now the serpent is now, the serpent that was against us is now giving us nourishment, taking care of us. So let's see what that says in the chat. One thing you're going to find out about the book of Revelation, it jumps. You might read the first 3 verses, then you might get down to the 7 to 8 verses something, and then you might equate it with the first. No, it means, like, example, a lot of people go off on this. Revelation chapter 20. They deal with the first 1,000 years in verse 1, then the 1,000-year reign in verse 4, then the end of the 1,000 year in verse 7 and 8, and they get it all screwed up. I'm going into a lot of prophecy since ChatGPT says GMS is known for their heavy emphasis on prophecy. That's what they said about GMS. IUIC, they're known for marching, discipline, order. ISUPK is known for their Black Panther type style, and not too many words. GMS, it didn't say, oh, they got a military this, and they go to the gun range, and they randomly beat up people on the street. No. When it speaks about GMS, it says they have a heavy emphasis on prophesying. So now let's see what this says. They're gonna botch it. Then I'm gonna close. And the woman, we know that that's Israel, according to the chat, were given 2 wings of a great eagle, a great escape, that she might, and that's 70 AD, that she might fly into the wilderness, that has to be Africa, into a place. A place is America, and the place where it says, "You're not my people, there shall be said unto them, you're the sons of the living power." It said that. I sound like a broken record. And who are the ones that are telling them that? Generals are not telling them that. Although you got General Yohannes saying that they're Israelites or their organization. The prophets are telling them that, because they're telling them that, and then they're saying, what makes you say that? Okay, let's go to this scripture, let's go to that scripture. Where she is nourished. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to look up that word, nourished. Section 8, food stamps, WIC, grants. All right? So let me open this up. I'm going to look up the word nourished. Remember, the tail of the dragon took the third part of the stars down. Now it's feeding the Israelites. Okay, nourished for a segment of time. Trump, the last Trump, he's cutting everything. A lot of people are going to die, and he calls it a big, beautiful bill. Beautiful for who or for whom? Not the working class, not the poor. You go to the emergency room, they accept you in there, and the first thing they ask for is what's your name, your social security number, do you have a driver's license or ID? Why do they do that? Because that's how they get paid. They got to have your information on record. And that's what they're going to ultimately do with the mark of the beast. That's why JFK Jr. is behind that. He's going to put wearable tracking systems on every American. They're trying to say that, oh, he never said he did. When I did the video on it, several brothers in GMS, I'll say brothers of various ranks, did videos on it yesterday.
Strong's G 5142, Trefo.
Trefo, a primary verb, properly trefo, but perhaps strength from the base of whatever to the idea of convulsion. Okay, to nourish. Right. Women get child support from Jake Men. Who does that? Who gets them the money? This man, the dragon. To nourish. Food stamps, welfare, Section 8, various different grants. Right? Feed, to nourish, to give suck, to fatten, to bring up nurture, You got Jakes in prison that actually love prison because you know what? You got a lot of Jakes that when they go to prison, they want to go back into prison because they said, damn, all we got to do is lay around all fucking day. And they feed us. You got basic cable TV. When we was in the system, they had fucking basic. These niggas were watching fucking cartoons and comedy shows. And we went to the tombs, and the Muslim took that over. The Muslim cooked their ass off, man. They were making good food. So most niggas like prison. That's the topic right there. They like being slaves, especially you Christians. When you come against us, you like it to continue the way it has always been. That's what Peter said. So it means to nourish. Remember the tail dragon, the tail of the dragon took down 3 parts of heaven, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, but now it's helping us. It's talking about now. It says this verse is highly symbolic and part of a broader prophetic vision in Revelation 12. Here's a breakdown of its key elements. The woman, often interpreted as a symbol of God's people, right? The Israelites, sometimes seen as Israel, the church. We are also known as the church. Acts 7, I believe, is around 43. I'm not going to go to it. Somebody put it in the chat. Or a faithful remnant. A faithful remnant of who? Of the Israelites, not Christians. 2 wings of a great eagle, symbolic of divine help and protection. Right, the Most High, Yahweh Shai told him, this was like 40 years before it happened, approximately. He said, when you see the abomination that make us desolate, enter into the holy place, then flee ye into the mountains. He was talking about Titus and the armies. This imagery echoes Exodus 19:4, and I mentioned that. Exodus 19:4, where the Most High says, you got to read up to 6. Matter of fact, I'll go to it. Where the Most High says he bore Israel on eagle's wings to deliver them from Egypt. So let's go into that. Exodus, let me copy and paste. So this chat be on point sometimes. A lot of times. And I made the reference so you can know. I'm going to read from the 4th verse to the 6th verse. Matter of fact, let me do this. Moses on Sinai in the third month, meaning the moon cycle, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Mizraim, the same came into the wilderness of Sinai, which is the wilderness, right? For they were departed from Rephidim and were come to the desert of Sinai. Let me show you the desert of Sinai. If it's still up there. That's the desert of Sinai. That's where we were for 40 years. And there Israel camped before the mountain. The mountain, the Spirit opened my eyes, and the mountain had to be a ship, a gigantic ship, because the wilderness was a mountainous region. So which mountain? If Esau knew the mountain, they would say, this is the mountain that Moses, guess what? They found the ark, right? In Ararat, Turkey, right? They didn't find the mountain that Moses was on. I strongly believe that mountain was actually a gigantic ship. Remember, Yahushua came back on a ship that Ezra mistakenly referred to as a mountain. And he's looking down. He said, where'd he get that mountain from? So that's a gigantic ship. You have mountains that are miles. To walk around the mountain could take you an hour or more, depending on the mountain. Let me do this. What is the largest mountain on the planet Earth? Okay. I wanted to get the circumference as the tallest mountain on the Earth. Now look at that. So Ezra saw something like that, but it was a ship. Okay, Mount Everest. With some elevation of, that's meters, which is 29, wow, 29,000 feet. When planes, you ever go on the plane, they tell you that we're at 29,000, we're reaching an altitude of 35,000. You normally go 35,000, right? However, if measured from the Earth center, the mountain with the highest peak is Chimborazo in Ecuador due to the Earth's bulge at the equator. Let me do this. What is the circumference of Mount Ararat? I said Ararat. I said Ararat. Bear me for a minute. Let me do this. I'm sorry. So let's hit it. Okay, let's get some numbers. And May 25, Naples conference ever in Mount Ararat making a 72 anniversary. Circumference. Oh my goodness. What is the circumference of Mount Everest? Wow. Wow. circumference of Mount Everest, or rather the distance around its base, is approximately 12 miles. When I go on my walk, if I'm doing a regular pace, I might go anywhere from 15 to 18 minutes per mile. If I'm moving pretty quick, it's closer to 15 minutes. So let's say I'm moving at a pretty decent pace. I'm hitting 15 minutes a mile. Okay, so 15 minutes times 10 is 150 minutes. So we're talking a little over 2 hours to walk around it. So if the Yahushai ship is that big, it can deliver every last one of the elect, 144,000, and the multitude behind it. That's all I wanted. So that ship, the vision that Ezra saw was a gigantic ship. And remember, the ship, the ships are celestial and spiritual. So the ship can grow. It can change shapes. I actually seen a ship I was right underneath it. A ship changed shapes in front of my eyes. It says the woman often interpreted as a symbol of the Most High's people. Israel sometimes seen as Israel, the church, or a faithful remnant, which are the elect. The two wings of a great eagle, symbolic of divine help and protection. This imagery echoes Exodus 19:4. Ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, how I bare you on eagle's wings and brought you unto myself. Israel didn't escape Egypt by hopping on the back of a wing. The eagle's wing. The eagle represents a great escape. Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me. Peter said that above all people, and Peter was quoting this scripture, for all the earth is mine. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and an holy nation, a righteous, perfect nation, without sin. We're going to have spiritual power. Supermen and superwomen and super children. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the sons of Israel. So let's get ready to end this. Okay, it says, into the wilderness, a place of refuge, of testing. Beautiful. We're here in America to be tested, right? A place of refuge and a place of testing. We're telling you that you're an Israelite. You don't accept it, you fail the test. You accept it, you come into the fold, you become a teacher, you pass the test. A place of refuge and testing. Biblically, the wilderness is often where God's people are protected and spiritually prepared. Her place indicates the Most High has prepared a specific place for her safety. Yes, that's America. We were nourished. Nourished for a time, times, and a half a time. This phrase refers to 3.5 years, which represent 350 years, a prophetic period mentioned in Daniel and Revelation. It represents a limited time of tribulation or persecution from the face of the serpent. No, there's going to be a time where the serpent is going to feed us. Then they're going to take that nourishment, aka Donald Trump. He's cutting everything. People, when this bill passes, when the big beautiful bill passes, there's going to be a lot of suffering. The serpent represents Satan or the enemy. This spiritual Satan is physical Satan. Who is, you know how we know that Satan could be a physical person? Because or have Satan on him? Did not the Lord tell Peter, Satan, get behind me? He called Peter Satan. Because he had Satan on him. Who is pursuing the woman, the Most High's people, which are the Israelites? Would you like to explore different interpretation, IG, symbolic, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that's all I want to do with that. I'm going to say shalom on to the next shalom.